Howdy folks, Jamboree here. Recently, a patron by the name of Jesper Hartvig Brunn made a review request to me. Their choice was the Swan Princess. As children, Prince Derek and Princess Odette were forced into an arranged marriage and hated the whole setup. Although Derek started growing a crush on Odette at one point. Once adults, Derek and Odette become instantly attracted to each other, so Derek announces a wedding, but Odette thinks that this is too sudden and turns him away after he says that he only values her for her beauty. Odette heads home by carriage with her father, only to be ambushed by Rothbart, an evil enchanter who was banished from Odette's kingdom after trying to take over it. Rothbart puts a curse on Odette, which makes her become a swan during sunlight and a human by moonlight, but she has to be on the lake during transformations. Rothbart promises to lift the curse if Odette agrees to marry him so he can become the king of her kingdom, but she refuses his proposal every time. Meanwhile, Derek finds Odette's dying father. He asks him who took Odette, and the king can only find the life to say, "The great animal," before dying. By the great animal, the king means Rothbart, who can morph himself into a giant creature, but Derek doesn't know this and ends up hunting down all the forest wildlife in hopes that one of them may be this great animal. Can Derek save Odette from Rothbart's curse, or will this evil wizard get what he wants? This movie was a box office flop in cinemas, but many children who grew up with it loved it, and the film has gained a cult following since being released on video. Many have criticised it for being a diet Disney film, a movie that tries too hard to imitate the Disney feature animation aesthetic, minus the same magic and production values. And it was directed by a former Disney director, Richard Rich. Honestly, I can't really dismiss this accusation because I get it. This is a whimsical fairy tale musical with attractive royalty, talking animals, and an evil enchanter. It's hard to shake off all the Disneyness of this movie, making it less of its own thing and more of a Disney fanfiction. More than anything, the film's main focus is its central romance, so that's where most of its storytelling strength should lie, but unfortunately, it's not very well handled. It starts off fine, developing the childhood years of Derek and Odette as their parents force them into bonding. These scenes are pretty cute, with lots of personality and sweet innocence in the animation. You can see Derek fancies Odette but refuses to admit his feelings, the kind of confusing crush that many kids go through. Then once they grow up, I'm afraid that's where the romance loses me. Let's just look at their romantic arc beat for beat, so I can better explain why. First, regarding Odette being angry at Derek for only valuing her beauty. Now, Derek does deserve extra pressure. He was the one that suggested the wedding. He's gotta find a better reason to pop the question than, "Shucks, you're pretty." But Odette could have at least countered his shallowness by giving deep reasons for loving Derek. After all, it's a two-way street when it comes to relationships. Instead, she focuses on guilting him, when she also developed a sudden interest in him on first sight and immediately kissed him after seeing how handsome he was. What makes her infatuation any deeper than his? Why is she let off scot-free? Yes, she has the patience to not rush into a wedding, but she's not on a moral high ground when it comes to shallowness. Also, if this film wants to have a genuine romance between the two leads, then forcing Derek to be the only one who has to express their true love means that Odette has nothing to prove on her end. Which is not only unfair to Derek, but also not a good way to build a believable love story. Heck, at least we see Derek blossoming a crush on Odette in the childhood montage. Odette had no interest at all in Derek until now. So after Derek struggles to find a reason besides beauty for loving Odette, the prince and princess go their separate ways. Okay, fine, maybe the film will now be about Derek learning to be less shallow and trying to remember childhood memories to help him recall what there is to love about Odette. Nope, once Odette is kidnapped, Derek devotes the rest of the film trying to find the great animal, as he's stuck with a stupidly vague direction for his quest, which makes him look like a dumbass for the rest of the story. Not only that, Derek and Odette are now apart from each other, so there's no chance for them to repair the damage or get to know each other more. But that doesn't stop the film, oh no, we got to have that obligatory love song right away, even if it makes no sense in the context of the romantic arc. Yep, in spite of the two not making up, Derek never proving a deeper love for Odette beyond "you're hot," and Odette herself never expressing why she loves Derek, the two of them suddenly start singing about how much they adore each other. Did I skip 3 scenes ahead? I swear I missed something! You can't just randomly place a 2 or 3 minute love song anywhere in the story and expect audiences to lap it up and completely believe that these two are now in love. Later, Derek does learn about Odette's swan secret, and she explains the curse to him. You'd think that he would now focus on finding genuine deep reasons to love Odette, or perhaps secretly spend time with her to get to know her when Rothbard isn't around. You know, things that would increase chances of ending the curse. No, he suddenly proclaims, "I'm going to announce my love to you at a party in my kingdom tonight." What happened to Derek's lesson on shallowness? Did I miss something again? What makes his new announcement of love so different to the one early on? He spent the entire movie practicing archery and trying to shoot innocent animals. How did these things help his love become powerful enough to break a curse? Yeah, they proved that he was determined to kill the great animal and save Odette, even though he didn't know where she was at that point. And he almost ends up shooting her after mistaking her for being the great animal because the king decided to be annoyingly cryptic before his death. But while a rescue mission might make him look dashingly heroic for risking his life to save her, it doesn't show how much he appreciates Odette as a person beyond her looks. It takes more than brave archery to convince us that he has matured and found deeper reasons to love the princess. You could argue that meeting Odette in swan form was enough to prove that he wasn't shallow, but he only interacts with her in human form. The only thing he does when she's a swan is almost kill her. It's not until the last minute that Derek confesses to loving Odette for her kindness and courage, attributes that she never showcased in front of him in the story, not even in the childhood montage, so his confession comes off as too late and unsupported. Yes, as an audience, we've seen Odette display traits of bravery and kindness, but Derek has mainly been off-screen in those scenes. If the filmmakers wanted this epiphany to have a real punch to it, they should have had Derek witness these traits firsthand. But putting aside how rushed the romance is, let's discuss the characters themselves. Now, Odette is likeable enough. She's very kind to those around her, can stand up to Rothbard with a feisty attitude, helps animals in trouble, and is good at motivating her friends. It's just, she's not exactly interesting. She's nice and brave, but that's about it. She doesn't really get to do much besides play cheerleader to all the other characters, with the supporting comic relief and Derek doing most of the work. She does have her moments of courage, sure, but for the most part, she sits comfortably in the role of damsel in distress. Derek is far from a complex character, but I enjoyed watching him more than Odette. Yes, he's a clueless idiot with shallow values, but he's still endearing. He has qualities that make him engaging to watch, like his passion for archery and theatrical way of talking.
Odette! I made the vow for her. Do you hear? The vow I made was for her!
There's more to him compared to Odette, especially because he's given a very active role in the film. You can tell that he's a nice guy deep down, but he just struggles to convey his feelings and tends to solve most problems with archery. He's a bumbling buffoon, but I can find some charm to him. Rothbard can be kind of creepy. The way he plays nice while committing awful crimes is enough to make our skin crawl. Especially when the way he talks to Odette unnervingly mirrors the way a narcissist talks to a domestic abuse victim.
Don't give me that look, Missy. Had to be sneaky, didn't you? Had to drag your weakling prince into it, didn't you? That's fine with me. Just fine with me.
But his motive is the simple desire for power, a very generic intention for an animated fantasy movie antagonist, making him quite unremarkable, and his overall plan seems to lack a strong thought process behind it. I mean, Odette may not know where she is, but she's not tied up or chained to anything, so she could run away to ask for a random person's help. As long as she returns to the lake before moonlight, she'll be fine. She's got plenty of time. It's not like the moon rises after 2 minutes. Even as a swan, she's not hindered, as she can always communicate through drawing to someone. Why have the curse be ended by true love too? Is Rothbart that confident that Odette has no true love? And if he knows about Derek, what makes him certain that Derek will never find her and rescue her? I mean, Rothbart spends all day somewhere else, and there's no one guarding the garden. All his minions are busy defending the castle. I get that he doesn't want to be too cruel as he's trying to gain her trust so she'll eventually crack and agree to marry him. But there has to be something to assure him that she's not going to escape and no one can contact her. He puts all of his faith into Odette staying still where she is and nobody coming to find her. There has to be simpler means of doing all this. Remember, he is an enchanter. He can use magic to control her mind or convince her that her reality is different. With some creativity on his end, anything is possible. I know that there needs to be a weakness or soft spot in his plan so Odette can find a way to escape and lift the curse because the story has to go somewhere, but the hole in this plan is crater-sized. It makes the solution too easy and Rothbart look like an idiot. I used to quite dislike the comic relief animals in this film, and while I still think that their desperate attempts at being funny through incessant forced slapstick and loud noises can become very annoying, I've grown to like them a bit more when viewing the film for this video. There's certainly something to their dynamic. Each animal has their own unique personality and nationality, so there's a contrast between them all. And even though they differ in many ways, teamwork is very important to them because they know they have to put away their clashing egos for Odette's sake. Like I said, this film is also a musical, so let's talk about each song one by one. This Is My Idea is an adorable number about the contrasting feelings on the arranged marriage, with the adults being very enthusiastic and the kids reluctantly going along with their plans. It's the strongest song in the film, detailing so much about the children's personalities while developing Derek's crush on Odette, bouncing melodically between the parents' joy and the kids' annoyance. Practice, Practice, Practice is a song about Derek's dedication to archery. It's very unnecessary, as characters didn't need to sing about it. We can already see how passionate Derek is about archery. But it's an okay song, with a collective chorus of many characters singing harmonious vocals, and kids are bound to love singing the repeated practice, practice, practice line. No Fear is a song about Odette and the animals breaking into Rothbart's castle to find a map. It has a good lesson about teamwork, teaching that working together makes for stronger results, and kids will love shouting along to the "No Fear" hook. Although the song does end up being taken over by comedy sound effects as the animals' wacky hijinks suddenly become the focus. Far Longer Than Forever is a love song that may be cute, but it has no emotional impact on me, because the romance has been rushed and plot points were skipped over. If it was sung at a point where Derek and Odette had found legit reasons to love each other, then sure, I can imagine it moving me, but randomly placing it where it is in the story just makes it mushy and out of nowhere. Princesses on Parade is another pointless song, about the princesses being showcased for Derek to marry. It's not awful, as it has some Broadway glamour to its theatricality, but you could take it out and nothing would be lost. No More Mr. Nice Guy is a goofy villain number from Rothbart. It's certainly fun and jazzy, but it takes away a lot of menace from the villain. Up until this point, Rothbart has acted kind of creepy and sinister. I don't think that a wacky, colourful song suits him. Yeah, he could be charismatic, but he never became so eccentric that I would call him really silly. He seems out of place attempting to be a cartoonier baddie. The animation is nowhere near the standards you would expect from an animated movie released in theatres. It's very inconsistent in quality, ranging from passably okay to boringly bland, and the more detailed smooth animation is reserved for a selection of weirdly chosen shots. Most of the animation's personality comes from the comic relief characters, but they can have too much personality in the more comedic scenes. While the human lead character's animation lacks so much energy and expression, like the animators are too afraid to wrinkle their pretty designs. And when our heroes do get to look more emotional, it's kind of Strange. Unlike other cinema-released animated movies, there's nothing impressive or grandiose about the animation. The magic effects can look kind of cool, but those are rarely used. And sure, the final showdown is the most cinematic scene in the film, but we have to wait until the climax for that. Overall, it's not bad animation, the effort and hard work is there, the thumbprints of a Disney director are everywhere too. It's just, even though it has a big budget for its time, I wouldn't say its animation is as fluid or consistent as a Disney film, the very studio that the movie is clearly trying to imitate. To conclude, I do get the appeal and charm of the Swan Princess. It's whimsically innocent and visually colourful, with themes of magic, romance, friendship and royalty, the kinds of elements that draw people to Disney movies. Plus there's lots of songs to sing along to. But these are surface level things. On closer inspection, the film is heavily flawed. There's something muddled and rough about it, a lack of polish and prime that explains why the film failed to make a splash in theatres. Its standards are best suited for straight-to-video release, so it's no surprise why its audience caught on once it came on VHS. If you think it's perfect as it is and really enjoy it, I'm not going to take that away from you. It's lovely if this movie is special to you. But personally, I find it to be cheesy fairy tale fluff, and I can't raise my feelings on it beyond the underwhelming response of meh. It's not awful, it's harmless, and I've seen so much worse, but it's also nothing that great either. It's average at best. So, what do you think of the Swan Princess? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to make a review request to me through my Patreon, then head over to my official Patreon website where you can find a $10 plus reward where you'll be granted the chance to make a review request to me. Cheerio, folks.